Hello, Profit Hackers. I'm Jeremy Lott, the Chief Visionary for Foundation Accounting and Consulting. I owned a construction company for about 15 years before making a change to accounting because my accountants sucked. My goals are to simplify accounting for construction company owners, fuel your profits, level up your cash flow, and help you grow in a financially responsible way. So let's go. Hello, Profit Hackers, and welcome back to the Contractor's Profit Hack Show. I'm Jeremy Lott, and I am excited to talk today a little bit about debt. Now, I'm going to throw some shade at some people today, so you'll definitely want to hang around and listen to this full episode so you can hear me throw shade at people, because that's awesome, right? That's exciting. But we are going to talk a little bit about debt, where it comes from, how to view it, and how to manage it, right? So to start off, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story, I'm going to tell you a story from my landscaping days. I had just landed biggest job ever. It was going to be $1 million landscape, all said and done, right? This guy wanted French gardens. He wanted to go to Oregon and hand select huge trees that we were then going to bring down and plant by crane. He had tons of block. He had a swimming pool. We were doing a custom balustrade, which is the railing thing. We were doing a custom stone balustrade for his entry into his house. We were commissioning a custom statue. We were doing outdoor lighting. We were doing a water feature. All of these things, everything, right? So I was super excited. And this was my big opportunity to exercise my creativity and come up with something just beautiful. So I jumped in. I took everything that he had said and all of our conversations and went to work and put together just this absolutely beautiful design. And I would have loved to see it installed, right? But when I presented it to him, he started pointing out some different things. Well, I don't really like this. I don't really like that. Let's change this. Let's do this a little bit different. Well, as an artist, creative, when someone starts doing that, it's like they're criticizing your child. It hurts. It's really hard. And I learned a really valuable lesson there. I learned that in order to run a business, you have to do what the customer wants, not what you think is beautiful, right? You have to match what they want and not just create something that you want, right? I talk about this in marketing all the time. You know, you got to find your niche. You've got to find the product that people are actually interested in. Otherwise, you're not going to sell things. You're not going to make money. This is an important sacrifice that has to be made in order to be able to survive and thrive as a business, right? It's so easy to get caught up on and focus on the wrong things. And that's where debt comes in. I'm going to talk a little bit about debt and kind of the commonplace mentality about debt, right? So to start with, when the boomers and previous generations were growing up, there was a mantra. It was get good grades in high school so you can get to a good college. Work hard in college so that you can get a good job. that you can work at the rest of your life. You have a pension. You're going to retire from that company after working there for 30 years. And then you're going to live fat and happy on your pension checks the rest of your life, right? The problem is that in the 80s, pensions started disappearing. And it was kind of unheard of to have a pension anymore, right? Employers just decided, hey, it's not our responsibility to finance your retirement, right? And so then 401ks and IRAs and all of those things became a lot more popular because it was now the responsibility of the individual to finance their retirement, right? Now, there's no such thing as retirement anymore, is there? Do people actually retire anymore? I don't know. Anyway, so the mentality that we still have about debt and about money is connected to that pension mentality. I'm going to be on a fixed income the rest of my life. So how can I stretch those dollars more? Well, the simple answer is to not have debt. If you don't have debt, you have more cash flow each month because that's one less bill that you have to pay, right? And so stay out of debt became the mantra. Well, as I said, times have changed. And we're still focusing on that same mentality. Okay, so now here's the shade I'm going to throw. Dave Ramsey, wonderful for people that have a pension or that are going to retire on a fixed income. He has fantastic strategies. I was even a certified Dave Ramsey financial advisor for a period of time. Yeah, it expires, but I went through all the training and got the certification, right? So that I understood better what he was teaching. And as I said, if you are going to retire on a fixed income, it's a great strategy. Sadly, most of us are not in that scenario. There's no such thing as pensions anymore. We have to kill what we eat now. Even people that work for others, that's the same thing. They're going to have to either continue working forever or they're going to have to set up their own company or some other form of income for their later years, right? So our mentality is stuck in this pension idea. And as a business owner, you need to change your mentality about and your mindset about debt, right? Just like I had to let go of my baby, my creative creation in order to be able to make money as a landscape design build company, you also have to let go of all of these previous notions about debt. There are things that are very beneficial for you to use debt on, and your business and your business growth can be one of those things, right? Here's the simple concept. If I can take on $5 a month of debt, but I make $10 a month because I took on that debt, that makes sense all day long, every day. That is not bad. That is building your company, right? If you can take that $5 and put it into marketing, or if you can take that $5 and you can buy a new truck or something so that you can have another crew out there doing work, right? That's going to increase your income. And that's what the focus needs to be, is on the cash flow, not on the fact that you have a debt payment and that you owe somebody. You need to change your focus from debt is bad to does it improve my cash flow? Now, there are a lot of purchases that people make that don't add to their cash flow, right? Real estate can be a fantastic purchase. But if you're buying a new office and it's not going to make you money, that might be a bad application of debt, right? You need to make more than what it costs you. Simple as that, right? So stop looking at debt as bad and instead focus on the cash flow. What is going to make me more money? If I can take on $5 of debt to make $10, that makes sense. One other word on this. When you do your bid, you go through, and if you're following our strategy, you're figuring out all your costs, and then you're adding a markup on top of that, right? When you present it to your customer, you're not showing him your markup. People don't do that. That's not commonplace in this industry. You can't go to the store and pick up a can of soup and know what their profit margin is on that can of soup, right? Most places don't share that information. Well, the crazy thing is that in the financial industry with debt, they show you their profit. They break that out. And what happens if you show your customers the amount of money you're going to make on their job? They want to start arguing about it. They start complaining about it, right? Well, interest is the same thing when it comes to debt. Interest is the profit that person is making for lending you money. It's very, very easy to get hung up on interest because interest is the devil. It's bad, right? Well, let's go back to the priority and what to focus on. Cash flow. If I am paying $5 a month to make $10 and the person's profit on that $5 is $4, who cares? It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, right? The important thing there that I need to focus on is that $5, regardless of how much profit the financial institution makes on that $5, is making me $10. So don't get caught up on high interest rates. Don't get caught up on this is how much you're going to pay over the life of the loan in interest. That's irrelevant. Focus on cash flow. That's what you really need. And honestly, that is what really scares people about debt, is not having the money to be able to pay for the payments, right? But if you work it out, you know how much money you're going to make, and it's going to give you increased cash flow to do it. It makes sense all day, every day. So focus on the right thing. Focus on the cash flow. Don't focus on debt is bad. Don't focus on I'm going to pay so much interest with this loan. Don't focus on that. Focus on your cash flow. How are you going to increase your cash flow? Right? So, again, this is Jeremy with Foundation Accounting and Consulting, and we have been talking about our bill pay strategy. The first thing we talked about was labeling each of your bills. What happens if you don't pay it, right? Then second, we talked about priority. Paying yourself and keeping your business alive have to be priority. So when you're choosing what to pay, you've got to focus on your priority, paying yourself, keeping the business alive. Third is debt. Don't focus on the wrong thing. focus on cash flow, right? And then next episode, we're going to talk about some ways that you can help to protect yourself when you're implementing these bill pay strategies. So this is Jeremy with Foundation Accounting and Consulting, and I will talk to you later. Thanks for listening. If you found this episode helpful, please like and subscribe for weekly episodes to help you fuel your profit, level up your cash flow, and finance your growth. Until next time, go enjoy some green M&Ms and protect that cash.